All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us and putting up with our banter back and forth here. For those of you who I don't know, my name is Jesse Hill, and I'm the president of Tier 3 IT Solutions. I have JP McCachran here with me, and he is our operations manager. And we are going to be spending some time today showing you our client portal. And we hope that the client portal is something that is of great value to you and your team. We are recording this session, and it will be available to watch later on as well. We have the chat going, and we also have the Q&A, and that's a big part of the reason that JP's here. He's going to be helping to manage and moderate that as we go. Now, for the content here today, before we jump into it, we just want to talk really quickly about some of our core beliefs as your IT partner. And what we have right here is what we call our brand commitment. And if you haven't seen this before, this is our expression to our clients of what we believe makes Tier 3 IT solutions unique and special. And it ties in very closely with this belief of ours that technology is a tool to support you in achieving your business goals, to help you overcome business challenges, and that, quite frankly, all businesses deserve a strategy that is unique to them that addresses those issues. But moving on, our agenda for today is right here. We're going to start off, first of all, with where to find the portal. There are 3 places to find it. How to get logged in. We're going to talk quickly about permissions and the differences that different users will see. We'll talk about the most common things that you and your team will use it for, which is most likely engaging with our support team. We'll talk a little bit about some of the other services that are available in there. And we'll go into some of the training content, because this is, for us, one of the big value adds that we want to bring to you and your team this coming year is to help you get the most out of your technology. We've got in here about the admin tools. This training today, or this session today, it is focused primarily at the normal or the end users, less so than the company administrators, but we'll show a bit of an example so you can see the difference between the two. And some of the other services, infrastructure and planner. So as I mentioned before, if you have any questions, throw them into chat and Q&A, and JP will help you with those. So the first thing is where to find the portal. Now, you will often, many of us will have the shortcut on the desktop that looks like this: portal, Tier 3 IT Solutions, which is the installed version of the application. You can simply double click on it, and it will then launch the logon screen. Of course, it's going to put it on the wrong screen for me. The other option for you is to visit portal.tier3it.ca, and it will bring you to the login page. And then the third one that I'll show afterwards is the Microsoft Teams integration, which is not available and configured for everybody that's on this call yet. It takes a little bit of time, and we'll work on that with you. So the first thing is getting logged into the portal. Now, you'll notice that it doesn't come up to a username and password. Your 2 options are to have it authenticate using your Microsoft account, or my personal preference is to use the email link. The reason I like the idea of using the email link is that it does not require you to remember a password at all. What it's going to do when I click get a login token is it's going to send an email, and within that email that I'll pull up here in just a moment, it will have a login token. I can copy this, paste it into here, and it now authenticates me and gets me into the portal. So that to me is the absolute easiest way to log in. That way we don't have to, remember another password. Now, when you do that on the desktop application, you will then, it will save that login. So you won't have to do it every time. The third option that I want to just show is, as we start to roll this out with more clients, is to add it into Microsoft Teams. And so the great thing about this is that if your business is already working within Teams, throughout your regular workday or work week, it's just another application over on the left-hand side here that you can click on. And JP, I believe it automatically authenticates based on your Microsoft account that you're in Teams with, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
If you are associated to multiple companies, we just need to actually do a little bit of work on the back end in order to associate you to your primary company.
There you go. But generally speaking, most of you are going to be tied into one company only. All right. Now I'm just flipping over to this other window because I am logged in here as two separate users. The first thing that you'll notice over on the side here is I've got the home, and then I have three options, and we'll go through each of these in a moment. This is a standard user, the typical, employee, staff member at your businesses are going to see these items. Your company administrators are going to see a lot more information. Of course, partner is for us. You won't see that, but you'll notice that, they go beyond university into a number of other items here. The homepage here is pretty straightforward. And the reason that we have you landing at this screen is that the large majority of our clients interact with us through our support team on an ongoing basis. They're used to sending in tickets by phone or by email. And, without throwing anyone under the bus, we often get tickets with descriptions that are not fully explaining the problem that you're having, who's having the problem, what you want done about it. And so one of the huge benefits that we see in using the portal is in submitting and viewing your support tickets as they're going through the process. So if you wanted to submit a support ticket, you click on Help Desk Support. You'll notice that it has descriptive titles here. And the idea is that as you click through, it gives you options of the most common types of questions or issues that people face. Now, depending on what title and subtitle you select, we'll get a slide in over from the right-hand side here, and it asks for the information that would be relevant to us. So, an example like this, my files, I can't access my files or data. We often get tickets where we would just can't get to the S drive. And then a technician has to go, okay, what is the S drive? Why is it important? Is it just you? Is there anyone else that's having the issue? And so you'll see the form here gives us the ability to ask questions that will be relevant to you. One of our rocks, one of our initiatives for this year is to take and build out more self-help type of content. And the way that will eventually populate in here is that and this might not be the best example, but if you said you can't access, your budget document, and that could be any file name, and it's on a shared drive, it'll then pop up and say, have you checked your internet connection? Are you able to access, other services that you normally would? And there might be a guide that will pop up and give you a couple of things that you can try out before you hit submit. And the idea is that we want to try to reduce the amount of interruptions and the time of those interruptions for you and all of your team. So this is what it would look on that one as an example. If I just went and said, I can't hear audio, of course, it's going to have a different set of questions. And when that comes into our ticketing system, it will populate it accordingly. So I guess I should also point out that when we're on the home page, if you expand support, you'll notice it has the same 3 items here. And so clicking on the left or clicking here does exactly the same thing. I'm going to skip past change requests for a moment. We'll come back to that because I think the next most common thing that people look at or want to see is what's happening with their support tickets. And this is also another part where it's really important to know a little bit about the difference in permissions. So you'll notice when I clicked on active support tickets, I'm on open, there are no tickets. If I click on closed tickets, there are no tickets. Waiting, no tickets. That's because this user has not been granted organizational admin rights. If we were to pop over and look at it as me, as Jesse, we see a test ticket here. Now, this ticket was created by one of our staff members, Aaron. Gary can't see that ticket because he is not a manager or administrator and should not necessarily see all of the tickets that are created. I am, the administrator, so I see my tickets and all the tickets that the rest of the team create. If I want to know what's happening with this ticket, I can take and I can just click on it here and it will pop up. I can see this was a test ticket. JP says he'll close it. I can, as a customer, I can say, okay, thanks for the update. I'll wait for notification. And when I hit send, that automatically responds to the ticket just as if I had responded by email. And then our team would see the update in our ticketing system. And of course, the wonderful world of ticket management, rolls along. One thing I do want to just point out at this point, this portal that we're using and that we're showing, we license this. Another company has developed this. And so we have to live within the capabilities and the capacity of their tool. And one thing that we've noticed is that we have our technicians have 2 ways of generating notes and putting them on tickets. One way will show up in here and one way won't. So if you ever come in here, you've gotten an email and one of our techs has, a response in the email and you come into the portal, it's not there. We know about this issue. We have a ticket submitted. We're just waiting for them to resolve that. The other items on here, the timeline, if there was a lot of correspondence, it will show in here. The details, I don't know that it would be highly relevant to you, but we can see that every ticket, when we're creating it, gets classified, in a number of different ways. This is part of how we make sure that we're identifying ongoing issues and those types of things. And then if we were to provide feedback on it, it will show up there. Now, I'm not going to go into the closed and the waiting tickets, but to give you an idea, if I went into it, it would show me all of the tickets on the account that were closed that I have access to. So again, as the administrator, I'd see them all. As Gary, I wouldn't see them. And same with waiting. And I'm just not going in there because some of those tickets have client names and other identifying information. You'll notice on the right-hand side, I clicked on a thing that says charts. And what this is doing is it's giving me the ability, again, as an administrator, to get a little bit of information about, our support, experience. So I could take and I could say, I want to see my ticket count by month. And oh boy, look at that. October, November, December, we had a big jump in the number of tickets. User submissions. I can see, and keep in mind, we can't necessarily modify all these, but I can see the quantity of tickets. So Aaron has created, 4 of the tickets in the last 90 days. This might help me understand who my noisy or more demanding users are. And then if I wanted, again, I could take a look at the ticket types that have been generated to understand, Are they software? Are they internet provider? Are they hardware? So just real quick, kind of detail and information about your support. Now, the last part that's on the homepage is this change requests and orders. And so the first part we talked about was service requests, help desk support. And the way that we would define that is I need help with something or something isn't working the way that it's intended. Change requests and orders, as you can see, these are modifications. So we need to add a user or remove a user. We need to buy new equipment. We need to make changes to permissions or mailboxes or those types of things. The reason that these are separated is that this is an area that I think often the relationship that we have with our clients, there's too much assumption that goes on. We get emails all the time where someone will send us a message and they'll say, please set up, Jesse, he's starting on Tuesday. And we go, okay, we can do that. What's Jesse's last name? What role will he be in? Does he need an email account? What should that email account be? Does he have an equipment, right? All of those things. And it creates a lot of back and forth that, quite frankly, from your perspective, probably is frustrating. So instead, if you can come into the portal and say, we need to add a new user, well, what it's going to do is this form is going to walk you through asking you all of the information that we're going to need in order to set that user up and to get them onboarded and ready to work, on the day that you would want them to. So we can see all of those things I talked about: name, title, department, office location, start date. We get an account access. So is there somebody that's on board already that has similar levels of permissions that we can, copy those? Any special notes, any special software that they need? And you can see do they require an email account? And as soon as we click yes, it says, okay, great. What should that email address be? Does it need to be a different display name? Should they be on mail distribution groups? And then, of course, the computer side. Again, the idea here is not to bore you with details and force you through a bunch of process that's annoying you, but to get all of the information that we need to serve you, in the most efficient way possible. So that's our homepage. That's support. That's where I think a lot of people are going to spend a good portion of their time. The next thing that I want to highlight, because I believe it's the other highly valuable part of this portal, is under university. Now, under university, we have courses and we have quick starts. Quick starts are like little reference guides for you on how you might use different applications, different tools. And the first thing to note is that on the side, under categories, we'll notice that there's an option for all and Office 365. If you click on all, then that's my preference of how to see this. Now, this is where our team will be creating more content and pointing people to help them out. But the idea with these are that if you very quickly need to understand how to use Microsoft Outlook on Android, you can come and you can click on it and it will show you, at a glance, what are the different features and functions of, Outlook on Android. If you would like to download it, you can click on the download button on the top right, and it'll give it to you in a PDF. And where am I? There we go. Now, the first thing that I'll mention on this is that the content that's in here right now, we did not generate this content. This is provided to us as part of our subscription into the portal. If there's anything in here that you, or anything that you would like to see in here that isn't in here, let us know, because this is one of our key initiatives to develop the coming year. The next part is courses. Now, again, the same idea as before. When you come in here, it automatically populates with certain content. Over on the right under categories, you can click on all, and you'll notice that the list has grown, quite a bit. Now, again, the content that's in here is provided, in this case, from a company called Bigger Brains. They specialize in, training around tools, the Microsoft tools. So as an example, Mastering Excel 2016, if you or any of your staff were interested in learning more about how to use that application, you can click on the tile. I've already enrolled, and down here, I can click Start My Course. I left this one last time, so it's asking, do I want to go back to where I was? I can say yes, and it will then go through and load the content. I was on lesson 20. In this case, the course is video-based, right? And so I can, come in, I can stop, pause, play. I can look at the course map. I can choose, what module I'm interested in going to. And the beauty of all of this is that this is all provided to you at this point at no charge. It's available anytime, anywhere. I would highly recommend you and your staff take a look at the Cybersecurity 101. It takes about half an hour, 45 minutes. And for any of you that have been filling out cyber insurance applications, this is one thing that you can put on there to say, yes, all of our staff participate in cybersecurity training. And the nice thing about doing it in here is that this course, it's configured to expire its certification every 12 months. And I'll show you in the admin side where, we'll start being able to see that. For those of you on the call that are administrators, one of the really valuable things that I think that we'll be able to work with you on in the future is the ability to create your own courses. So as an example, we have created a course for our employee handbook. Rather than sending somebody a PDF and just assuming that they've read it, we can create a course where we go through and we essentially are publishing the same content that we would in a handbook. But as the staff go through and next, it will actually ask them questions. So if you wanted to test them on any of the content, you can do that along the way. And then when they complete, if they want, they can go and they can download a little certificate that says when they finished it. And of course, like I said, we have configured ours to expire every 12 months so that our staff go through and look at it on an ongoing basis. Whew. All right. The last thing I'm going to touch on, here for the standard user is under the company tab. And in the company tab, JP, we got to clean this up again. This, I think it only shows up because I'm using our account to show you, but these top two sections, business applications and Office 365, it shouldn't show up like this in yours. But what we can do is if you have certain tools or software that your staff use on a regular basis and you want to make sure that everybody knows where to go to get to, Salesforce, you can set it up in here as a shortcut. It's not going to log them in or anything like that. It's literally just going to open, the page for the login. What we have done is we've added some of the standard support tools that we would use. And this is because often when people call in and ask for help, we have to get them to type things in, and it doesn't always work out that they hear us properly or that they know where to go. So if we wanted somebody to do a speed test as part of the diagnostics, we'll just get them to open the app and click on that and run the speed test. All right, JP, I've seen a couple of questions coming in as we've gone. Is there anything that we need to stop and touch on before I jump into some of the admin stuff?
Just maybe to touch on the last one in the chat there, which is the finding any recordings for any type of education that we build.
Great question. So Kathy and I have been spending all afternoon together on webinars. And we hosted today a Microsoft Office productivity training talking about the difference between OneDrive, SharePoint, and Microsoft Teams. When that recording is complete, we will be uploading that into the courses section. And so it'll show up as a separate course. We'll create a category called Tier 3 IT, webinars, and you'll be able to go there and watch it there. All right. Anybody else have any questions? You can continue to put them in the chat there. I know we're going real fast here, but I'm going to try to touch on the company administrator side of things. So if there's anybody on the call who is managing the relationship and overseeing technology in your organization, this is where you can get some interesting stuff. So you'll have this infrastructure tab. You'll notice here, under domains, it's really just telling us, what are the domains that we own. We can click on it. It gives us all of the who is information, lots of the DNS stuff and things that probably don't mean a whole lot to you, but are important for us. Endpoints would be your workstations and computers that are under management. And so we can see here, at the first glance, it shows us who the user is, the version, the model, and when it was last updated. And if I take and I click on it, it will give me more information. It'll show me, it last had an update yesterday. It's got Sophos on it. We got to get encryption turned on that drive. How much free space he has. And if I get into the configuration tabs, for those of you that are planning, investments and those types of things, we can look and we can see that this computer has a ship date of approximately January of 2022 or 2019, and an approximate warranty expiration of January of 2022. Now, if I knew that this was something that I was concerned about and I wanted to make sure that we had a chance to plan for it, for its replacement, I've got this button up here called Planner, and I can click on that, and it then gives me a form so that I can add it to the planner. So I could say, this is a productivity thing. I'm going to just keep the title the same so I don't have to type a whole bunch. But in my description, I'm going to say, well, this computer needs to be replaced. I'll hit submit. And then what you'll see is when we get a little bit further down the line here, we'll be able to see that as part of our investment plan. The servers is exactly the same thing, just it's defining the servers that we have. Oh, I should also point out, when I'm on endpoints here, I've got options for my charts. So I can look and I can see, things like how old they are. I can see my manufacturers. I can see, all kinds of information. Like I said, it's at a quick glance, kind of different stats and things. Servers is exactly the same. And then the software is a list of every piece of software that's installed on every computer. And here I also have the option to look at the services that are installed. So let's say, for example, there was a news article and it said Adobe Acrobat is at risk of, it's got a vulnerability. Well, I could come in here and I could look and I could say, okay, I have 11 computers with Acrobat installed. And then it will actually show me which computers have that on there. So it could be something like that, or it could be that I have a concern. Maybe I'm worried that people are playing Minecraft on their work computer. Right? Again, I can go in there and I can search that out real quick. Usage, this is tying into your Office 365 tenant. It's going to pull in and show us, we have 25 Office 360 or Microsoft 365 E3 licenses, 22 are used. We have 3 available, right? Again, if I want to know more about it, I can click on it and it will give me that content there. I'm not going to go into users because of the way that our tenant is set up with all of our sharing with clients and outside parties. There's names in there that we don't need to share with everybody. But essentially, when you click on users, it will show you the users that have accounts in your Office 365 tenant. Compliance, again, this is something that you'll see a lot more of as we go. But essentially, what we do is we create these assessments. And a good example is this nist assessment, which our technicians, when they're doing a review of a client's network, much like doing a vehicle inspection, checking the boxes, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, they're able to look at a client's network, fill out the assessment, and eventually generate a report so that we can meet with you and our clients and talk about any gaps that you might have, any risks, and those types of things. And then training is going to report on those courses that are in there. So as an example, if I wanted to see who has taken my cybersecurity 101, I can click on that, and it looks like Ian finished it on February the 4th. Now, when it expires in a year, I think that this turns red and tells me that he needs to do it again. Again, full disclosure, the tool that we're using, constant development. So I do feel that they need to improve on the reporting on their training, and I'm sure that will come down the line. The other thing that we want to show you is under account, you would be able to come in and see the feedback. So every time we close a support ticket, you and your staff get a little link, and it says, how did we do? Happy, not so happy, not happy. And for you as an administrator, the important thing is that you can come in and you can get an idea how your team feels about the support that we've been giving. You can also click on it, see more detail. And yeah, we look at this extensively throughout our day. In Microsoft Teams, we have a thread that every time a client clicks on one of those three happy, medium, not happy faces, it notifies us. We respond to any of the ones that are not positive. And again, the charts, right? So I can take and see all of the ratings over a period of time. For any of you that manage finance, you'll have the option to take a look at the invoices and go look at them in the portal. And then the last thing that we'll touch on is Planner. And this, we left it to the end, but this is one of the parts of this that we're most excited about, particularly for those of you that are managing the relationship with us, is that as we go through and start working on this on an ongoing basis, we can help you deal with your technology in a more predictable way. So that one that I pointed on earlier of, I think it was Isaac's computer, and I said it needs to be replaced, it automatically put it into the column here called recommended. And, when we're meeting with you, we could just say, hey, this computer looks like it needs to be replaced. What are you thinking? When would you like to see us handle that? And we can just take and drag it and drop it into the spot where it goes. We can take and, add more detail on it. In settings, we can add costs on it. So let me see here. So if we said project pricing, so it's going to be 1 unit, it's going to be $100. And of course, there's lots of different detail in there. But then we can right away, you have access to look at your plan. We have access to work with you to adjust and modify and build the plan out according to your particular priorities. We also in here have the options to start keeping track of meetings. Ian is using that a little bit for budgets and those types of things. But this is one that you'll see us spending more time on the planning and management side of things. All right. We're already a little bit over time. So what we would like to encourage you is take some time, log into the portal, and share any feedback that you have with us, by email. We can fine tune and we can modify and we can adjust this to work with you and your specific needs. And the bottom part of the text that we're already doing. The other thing I want to point out is that we are doing a lot more webinars and educational content. So the key ones that we have is that twice a month on Tuesday afternoons, we're running a webinar around cybersecurity. And this is a series. And the idea with it is that we want to make it an ongoing, ever-evolving course to help you become more aware of the cybersecurity risk that's out there and how to protect yourself and your business. And then the other webinar that I think is really exciting that we just came off of before this one is with Connie from Mission Computers. And she is a digital productivity expert. And she is committed to meeting with us and our clients once a month to give us a brief inside view of how to make the most of your technology efforts, focusing heavily on Microsoft Office. Our next session, I think, is March 17th, and it's all about how to get control of your inbox. So tips and tricks and tools within Microsoft Outlook to tame the beast that is email. And JP's smiling because he and I both need to get into that course. So we look forward to seeing you on more of those sessions. And I know that we're a little bit over time, but I'm happy to stay and answer any questions that anybody has. So thank you again for joining us. If you have any questions, I think you probably already know how to get in touch with us, but there's our contact info there.